Hey everyone, this is Julian with the Game Fanatics. I'm here with Eric Manahan of the Matte Black Studios.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about Lucid. I'm very excited to talk about this. I don't know if you remember, we met was it almost 2 years ago?
At PAX, was it Easter?
It was, I think it was West or right after the one where there was nothing there. I think.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it was at a PAX.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it was like right after the people started coming back for the different um, conventions and things of that nature. But you weren't showing the game yet, but I got to see the trailer back then, and it looked really cool. But for the people watching who may not know much about the game, can you tell us a little bit about Lucid?
Sure. Yeah. So Lucid is it's just like my passion project. It's literally everything. It's a love letter to my childhood in gaming, but it's kind of like I've been calling it. I'm doing the SpongeBob Rainbow Hands. It's
Yeah.
it's the world's first Celestoidvania, which is a buzzword that I'm using to get the
Yeah.
point across because node-based traversal Metroidvania doesn't have the flow really, but
Mhm.
it's essentially a Metroidvania that takes a mechanic, a movement option in Celeste, a particular one where if you jump and you touch a certain like a gem, a node, it would refresh your jump resources. So it
Okay.
allows for a lot of movement mobilities in the air, and you can like chain and never touch the ground.
Cool.
But yeah, it's an old school pixel art, just all hand animated, and putting all my everything, all my love and soul into this game.
Okay, cool. And I guess so. One of those main differences from Celeste, there is combat here, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, that's the big one. It's kind of like Mega Man Z, Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero meets Celeste meets Super Metroid meets The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It's a hodgepodge. It's all my
Okay,
favorite things pieced together.
cool, cool. And I guess one of the other questions from so many years ago: are you still working on this kind of solo, small team?
I would say primarily still a solo, still
Okay.
going solo, but I do have like the formings of a team, like the beginnings. I have a few little contractor friends who have been helping out, and if the Kickstarter becomes more successful, I can make them or ask them if they seem to be very excited for it, but we're gonna try to make this like a more team, just like
Yeah.
a unit. But right now everyone's I'm just trying to a bunch of pans on the frying pan on
Yeah.
the stove, but getting everybody like working together and like having like a almost like a virtual office would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I definitely understand. I was working in the gaming space outside of doing this for about 2 years, more on the business side, but I definitely understand kind of how that whole process goes.
Hmm.
Um, but when it comes to working on the game, like you said, this is a passion project of yours. Still, like pretty much you solo. But what has been your favorite part of working on
Oh, oh man, picking my darlings.
the game?
I'm gonna have to go with probably the pick doing pixel art. It's my like comfort zone. I know I'm very comfortable there. If I have an idea, I know how to do it. I can animate it. It's very seamless, and it's very zen. I can like just sit back, relax, have a nice glass of wine, and put on a movie. It's pixel art. It's really great. And then a close second would probably be, I mean, I guess, yeah, designing the game, the mechanics, the story,
Mhm.
creating the world characters. But that's really fun to do too.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty hard to pick because normally that's my question. I ask different people. They work on different parts of the game, but when you have that
Hmm.
smaller team or solo, I'm pretty sure it's hard to pick. Um, you talked
Hmm.
about the mechanics a little bit. So we talked about movement, and there's combat there. So is there kind of like upgrades and things of that nature that you kind of unlock or maybe spend points? And how does that work in Lucid?
Yeah, totally. You hit the nail on the head. It's so I say Legend of Zelda because there are you have like an overworld, Metroidvania overworld, and then in this overworld there's actually dungeons. So you can enter a dungeon, and in the dungeon there's an upgrade slash treasure. So it's the equivalent to a Metroid upgrade, a Zelda treasure, and that will be your crystal art. Those are your abilities, and they both enhance combat and expand movement. They always do twofold. And these things can range, and they're usually tied. Almost all of them are tied to cardinal directions, and that's where your mobility options expand, how you can explore the world, and everything starts getting bigger, bigger, bigger. You can break different walls, so that's super fun, very Metroidvania. But to your point about upgrades, you can also upgrade all these abilities. So it's like if you got the hook shot, but then you can upgrade the hook shot to like, I don't know, have 2 hook shots.
Yeah.
You could spend points to make them even better, but it's a skill tree, so you can tailor your Owen, the player character. You can tailor him to play. Your Owen will likely be different than someone else's Owen, because on top of your skills being upgradable with skill trees, you also have some gear where you can slot abilities that play to your style, and even have certain combos and play nice with each other and play nice with certain abilities. So everyone's Owen will be their Owen.
Okay. So you don't necessarily need to unlock every single little bit of like gear upgrades to kind of make it through this game.
Yes, yes, exactly. Like, yeah, I know for me, I'm a completionist kind of guy,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna scour the map. But no, you can play mainline, you can beeline through the story if that's your bag. Like, go right ahead, my friend.
Yeah. This is definitely one of like the more cool kind of pixel art games that I've seen in the past. I really kind of like the character design, so definitely appreciate that.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
the From what I heard, the music was great. So is your because I think the last time I talked to you, maybe your fiance or someone was working on it.
Yes, sir. Yep, yep, yep.
Okay, cool. Keep.
So yeah, it's I've been so fortunate. We used to make music together. We used to DJ in college, and we used to make some tracks more often. But I eventually went to game design, and we do less of that. But she's it's been like a rekindling of that time again, because she'll be making music, and I kind of over the shoulder give some like, oh, what if it did this? So she's been just nailing it with these very flow state inducing, like pumping heart blood pumping beats. So on top of that, we also have my friend Andrew Black, who's doing more kind of this atmospheric, moody, ethereal kind of stuff. It's more overworld, where her tracks are much more during like dungeony sections where it's action packed. And then on top of that, my friend, recently the great and talented David Wise of
Oh
Donkey
yeah.
Kong Country fame has joined the project and is lending his talents with a future a track now. And if we hit a certain stretch goal on the Kickstarter, we'll have a few more tracks from David Wise as well.
Okay, cool. No, that's actually really cool. Yeah, yeah. I'm excited about that. That's Donkey Kong and that kind of that music and things. It's just kind of really nostalgic. So that's something really cool to have. Um,
100%.
that brings up another question. But before I get to that question,
Sure.
what engine, like, what are you using to kind of build the
Oh, oh, super fun. Thanks, man. Yeah. Well, so apparently, before it decided to set itself on fire, I just got
Ah,
an yeah, yeah. Oh, I know
yeah.
exactly the engine you're talking about. Um, yeah, tell me the engine you're working in without telling me the engine you're working in. I just received the update today about they've rolled back. It's Unity. To answer your question, it's
Yeah.
Unity. And I just received the email that they've rolled back their decision on many things.
Mhm.
It is looking so much. It's infinitely better than it was.
Yeah.
It's still upsetting, to say the least, that this is how it all unfolded. But it's safe to say that I am unaffected by these changes.
That's great.
So
That's
good.
great to hear.
Yes, I was reading all the bullets. I'm like, okay, okay. And then there was this one that said, basically, if you're using versions prior to this, like, don't even. And I'm using I think like 2020 version of Unity or
Okay.
2021, so completely unaffected. And I was like, ah,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Yeah, that was one of those things when I saw that come out, I was like, "What? This doesn't make any sense." I'm like, "Why would you do this?"
Why would
Uh,
you? Why would you do this? Oh my god. They just like went out to the town square, like doused themselves in kerosene, and was like, "Does
Yeah.
anybody have a match?"
Yeah, that was very interesting. Definitely felt
hmm
very interesting for that time being.
hmm
But that did kind of open up the statement before that kind of opened up this almost final question. And let's talk a little bit more about the Kickstarter. And so, anything you want to share, kind of around that process, or anything you want to share to kind of get people more enthused about joining and supporting that Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, if you, friends, if you're listening to us, or if you're watching, if you're reading, if you're absorbing our talk right now, you must have some inkling of love for video games and indie games at all. And if you do, I call upon you to come to www.lucidkickstarter.com and back a project that I have poured everything into. Like literally everything I have has gone into this project, and I left my 10+ year architecture career to pursue this dream, and I hope you can just see from the gameplay, the artwork, the story, that it's got passion and thoughtfulness poured into it, and it is not something that I take lightly. I take it very seriously. And we have a budding, beautiful community around it that feels the same way. And if you want to join and be a part of this, please come check out some backer tiers. If anything speaks to you, it would be so freaking awesome if I could have your support, if I would earn your support. So please, www.lucidkickstarter.com. And on top of that, off my soapbox, we're 100% funded. So
Oh yeah,
it,
cool.
it's happening. But so it's backer stretch goals time. So just help us get to these stretch goals. There's a bunch of content that really fun. We're Sentinel Trials, there's a secret I haven't released it yet, but there's like a Coliseum, kind of that Hollow Knight Coliseum. That's going to be in there. More tracks from David Wise. Maybe a speed running overlay. There's a bunch of stuff that I would love to get in there. So please come and just check it out. I poured everything in. It's me poured onto screen. So
Yeah.
please.
I definitely think that was a great speech, a great description of kind of what you're trying to do and your passion behind the project. Where will people? Well, actually,
Okay.
when will people be able to play? Slash, where will they be able to play?
Oh, cool, great.
Yeah.
So there's a two-folded answer. The first answer being, I think it's like the third tier in, or there's a pretty low tier that if you back, you get access to the alpha demo build at the conclusion of the Kickstarter campaign. Oh, I'm sorry, a month or two post the conclusion of the Kickstarter campaign. So you'll be able to play the earliest build, give me feedback. We'll have this intimate. There's going to be a Discord channel for these backers, and we can discuss game design and just tell me what you think. So that'll be the very first instance that you'll be able to get a taste of Lucid. But post that, depending on how successful or unsuccessful the Kickstarter is, it'll really dictate the scope of the project. And I'm estimating, shooting for a 2025, somewhere in 2025. And again, how much content needs to get in there, that'll kind of pinpoint where. But yeah.
I mean, this is great. You got me even more energized
Oh,
about getting a chance to play this again.
yes.
Um, yeah, so I hope your PAX was well. I was. Uh, I saw your table and I had to run. I was running as a solo team this time, so
Oh
so
no, yeah.
I'm definitely glad I got to kind of sit down and get this time to talk about Lucid a little bit more in depth. But yeah, like you said, what is it? So it's Lucid Game Kickstarter, or
Oh, www.lucidkickstarter.com.
got it. Even easier than what I was saying. Definitely want to thank you, Eric, for kind of, like I said, taking the time and really being passionate about your project. I definitely understand. And yeah, thanks for tuning into the Game Fanatics, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for having me.